Hi everybody, I'm Kathleen from Make the Change and it's Let's Talk Night, and tonight we're going to be talking about stress is the enemy of success. Okay, so what stresses you out? What does stress mean to you? Okay, how does it make you feel? What creates the stress in your day, and how are you managing it? You know, are you managing it okay? Are you brave enough to put your hand up and go, no, I'm not managing it very well? Or are you in denial? Okay, well, I think you can all sort of fit yourself perhaps into one of those little categories, but perhaps because you're here tonight that you are wanting to learn more about how to manage your stress levels, and that is fabulous. I hope this really helps you. Okay, but before we go any further, I just want to step back a little bit and just think about what success means to you. You know, as we grow up, we immediately think that success automatically has a monetary value to it. It's about how much money we're earning, how big our house is, you know, where are we on the ladder of, you know, our career. But it isn't, you know, necessarily that. For other people it'll be about their families, about their friends, you know, about their relationships in all sorts of different forms. It might be about a you know, a business that they've got, or to do with a hobby or a sport. So, you know, everybody is very individual about how they visualize their success for them. Okay, so this is why, you know, I asked that question at the beginning is, you know, what do these things mean to you? You know, what does success mean to you? And try and itemize it so that you really understand where you are coming from. Okay, so getting back to the stress, how well, you know, are you reading your body? What are your symptoms? Okay, so we'll just go through a few here, and you know, you may be able to tick some of those. Okay, so it might be you might be having symptoms of tiredness, headaches, aches and pains, fatigue, lack of lust for life. It might be having an effect on your sleep patterns, your eating and drinking habits. It might be having an effect on your behaviour. You may be crying a lot. You may be feeling as if you are out of control. You may be getting very angry and frustrated. And, you know, it might have an effect on your sleep patterns, on your decision-making skills, you know, on your concentration levels, on just being able to function as effectively as you would like to. Okay, and so, you know, again, this is very important to be able to start pinpointing some of those symptoms, and there might be other symptoms that I haven't recognised here, you know, that I haven't stated here, you know, and it's about pinpointing them so that you can understand you can understand and read your body and know, right, I get that feeling because of so and so, I get that ache and pain because that's been happening, or I get the other because I haven't given myself enough rest and relaxation. Okay, so why is stress the enemy? Okay, well, what's happening when we get stressed is our adrenaline levels will start, you know, kicking in. Our body will be, so this is our body's reaction to the stress. That adrenaline is going to be pushing our blood pressure up. It is going to be raising our heart rate, sorry. It's going to be having an effect on our breathing patterns. And this is okay in the short term, you know, and when I'm talking about short term, it might be around getting a project in, it might be around an interview, it might be around a, you know, perhaps a challenge that you've got. meeting a deadline, something like that. But then once that is over, your body can then go back to normal. If this is over a longer period of time, your body isn't able to restore itself and go back to normal. And this is where your body gets a little bit out of control. Okay, your bodily functions don't function correctly, you know, for you. And so, you know, the longer it goes on, your body is having to overcompensate for the high levels of adrenaline, for the raised heart rate, for the poor breathing patterns. And that is when you'll start to gradually see the symptoms. Okay, now we all know somebody who is overstretching themselves or are anxious and stressed, you know, and, you know, I learnt to read my body when I suddenly came to a grinding halt, and I had to really start concentrating on it and working out how I could start to make some changes. And that is easier said than done, isn't it? You know, you've got a full-time job, so you've got your roles and responsibilities there, you've got your kids, you've got your parents, you've got your pets, etc, etc, etc. And so, you know, and it's about, you know, we try and keep going, don't we? You know, and all the best will in the world, we can keep ourselves going and try to keep to a set regime, all right? But then something happens in the day. So, for example, you know, when I was teaching full time in prison, I'd be up at 5, you know, go and take my dogs out for a walk. My kids are at secondary school, so it was drop my daughter at the bus because she had to get the bus by a certain time so she could get into school at a certain time. Drop my son off at school, or, you know, at the end of the road so he could get into school, saunter in, because then I had to be in work at a sensible time. And even though you're so well organised and you've got it down to a T, something is going to get in the way. So it might be the traffic, it might be that there's been an accident, or there's suddenly, you know, some roadworks have sprung up, something like that. Or it might be that you get to work on time, you're organised, and then the boss goes, we're just going to have a little meeting. And already, you know, even though you've only been up a few hours, already the adrenaline is being pumped into your body. All right, because maybe the boss wants a meeting, perhaps the photocopier isn't working, that's a standard one. And then, you know, students are arrived. So for me, it would perhaps be, especially, you know, on a brand new course, the 10 prisoners would arrive. They're all effing and blinding because they forgot that they'd asked for the course. They don't want to be there. You know, you've got to suffer them for like 3.5 hours, try and cool the situation down. And then, you know, you have your lunch, you have catching up to do, you perhaps have some photocopying to do, have some marking to do, and then you go back with the same 10 effing and blinding men. And then at the end of the day, you've got to mark the work because you can't take it home because their names are all over the work, and you might leave it on the top of your car and they float away into the distance because you forget to put them in the car. Get home, have some rest and relaxation, but most probably you are already thinking about the next morning and your regime and all the things that you've got to do, so your brain and your body isn't relaxing. So no wonder you struggle with headaches, no wonder you start eating the bar of chocolate to try and keep you going, no wonder you neglect your fitness regime, because you are struggling to function. All right, now, you know, that was my own scenario, but a lot of those things people are going to recognise. And although the boss wants a meeting because it's for them the most convenient time of the day, is it the most convenient time for everywhere else? Well, that depends on, the job that you are doing. Okay. So I'm just gonna run through now 5 things or 5 tips that I want you to think about, all right, to start understanding your stresses. Okay. So number 1, list your stresses in your life. Okay. Now, this can be hard because you might feel guilty, all right? But like I say to my clients, don't feel guilty about it. This is personal to you and nobody else needs to look at it, all right? So just write them down. It's better to get that information out of you so that you can start to see it clearly and you can start to do something about it. So number 1, list the stresses in your life. Number 2, list your symptoms. All right. Now this is again really, really important, because if you understand your symptoms, if you can read your body, you're in a better position to be able to start doing something about it. Number 3, what are these stresses and these symptoms telling you? Okay. So the headaches, the poor eating habits, the poor sleep patterns, perhaps the bad dreams, the frustrations and the angers. What is all that telling you? Okay. Number 4, why are you allowing yourself to feel this way? All right. Now this is where you need to put your hand on your heart and connect your thought patterns and your heart together. Okay, why are you allowing yourself to do that? All right, write it down. Be honest, open, translucent about it to yourself. All right, because if you can do all of these things, you're going to be in a better position to do number 5, which is, what are the options available to you to do something about it? Okay. Now, your options. Okay. Some of the things are going to be more difficult than others. All right. But the way, I'm going to describe it is, as we go through life, and that's the stress and that's the strain, and you're shoveling it into a bag and keeping it under control and shoveling it in, one day, okay, something big is going to happen in your life that is going to have a huge impact on you, and boom, all of that stuff that you have been shoveling in is just going to explode. All right, because you can't contain it any longer. Okay, so the reason for looking at all of these different things is so that you can start looking at little bits and pieces of your life. All right, and saying, well, I could sort that, and I could sort that, and I could perhaps sort that. All right, I'm not saying tip it all out on the table and sift through and go, oh my God, there's just so much here, I don't know where to start. All right, and because that is going to create more anxiety and stress for you, which is not what you need. Okay, so have a little look and pick the easier things to start taking action on. All right, not necessarily the big stuff, the little things, because actually what you will most likely find is taking action on those little things will help the big thing, and then by the time you get to that big thing will have reduced and be smaller and more easy to manage. Okay, so I'm going to go through those 5 tips again. Number 1, what are the stresses in your life? Number 2, list your symptoms. Okay. Number 3, How is all of that making you feel? Number 4, why are you allowing yourself to feel and be like this? And number 5, what are your options for making it different? Okay, now, if you want a little bit of extra support with managing your bag of stuff, with helping you change that enemy of stress, then send me a message. That's all you have to do. Just send me a message and we can arrange a time to talk further so that you can unravel it, make it easier for you, and change that stress from an enemy and make a success of what it is that you want in your life instead. Okay, so send me a message and it would be great to chat. And on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a great evening, have a great week, and I will speak to you again next Wednesday evening. Night night.